Hello, good morning, everybody. It is, I believe in the real world, it's Thursday. We are on a retreat right now, and I'm not really sure what day of the week it is. So I'm hoping it's Thursday for you because it feels like Thursday for me. And it's normally 9:30 St. Louis time, but it's 10:30 here and where we are in Savannah. So you guys, we've got all sorts of time warp things going on right now. But good morning, good morning, good morning. Start as we always do with questions submitted as from you guys. However, today I cheated and I read the questions ahead of time and I've crowdsourced answers from the crowd in the room here. So I'm going to have some insider tips and tricks from the people here with me in Savannah. So our first question this week comes to us from Sandra Myers from Bozeman, Montana. Good morning, Sandra. Thank you so much for your question. Sandra's question is, how do you decide when a quilt is finished versus when you keep tweaking and adding details forever? Okay. So from the audience, some of the answers were, you know, you're finished when you run out of fabric. I know that's kind of funny. Like when you're out of fabric, you're done. No more to do. And then someone said, but you never run out of fabric. So you'll never be done with a quilt. Good point. Very true as well. Then another answer was you are done with the project when its due date is tomorrow. So if the baby is being birthed, your quilt is done. If the birthday is tomorrow, your quilt is done. If the shower is tomorrow, your quilt is done. Then there were other answers along the lines of it's done when you put the binding on it. Yes, at that point, you can edit no further. You have put the binding on your quilt. It is officially done. I would say, you know, I'm going to talk about the question and adding details forever. And I think that knowing when is done is a fantastic thought exercise. So some of us, if we're following a pattern and we're making the pattern, okay, we made the pattern, but then we're like, what if we add a border? And what if we add another border? And what if we piece the border? And then before you know it, you've got a quilt with 17 borders on it and it's more border than quilts. Okay, so we've probably gone too far in that scenario. So for this question, I would say, you know, is it done enough to be done and you want to move on to the next project? That's also a good indicator of, am I done with this and I'm ready to move on to the next project? So, you know, I think this is something that sometimes we struggle with and sometimes we get to the end and we just want to be done with the project. We are done with the project, but it all depends on the person, depends on what you're working on. I do like the due date. I feel like I live by the due date more than anything. So this quilt, we'll talk about it in a minute. I finished it last night because the due date was today. It had to be done by 9:30. So that's when I knew I was done with this guy. All right. Let's see here. Boop, 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 boop. All right. You guys have fantastic questions about the quilt behind me. It is very different and it is very pretty. It is done with Giuseppe's Rapture collection. And it was, it's the quilt we picked that's representative of Savannah because it has kind of a Gothic vibe to it, but still being very earthy and neutral. And so I was actually a big fan, even though it has green in it. And I know that's not my normal jam. It has green in it. I did enjoy making it.